And, that kind of transitions us right into the spring game. I know you had a show with some of the other guys here on the channel immediately after. I was unable to attend due to some work things I had going on. But I know you probably emptied the tank on your spring game takes, but I want to give you mine.
I want to hear what you got to say. Yeah.
So,
I'm really interested.
Following right after the game, I wrote a couple articles, and I gave 3 winners and 3 losers. And one of the winners, let's start positive. One of the winners I had was, everyone saw how good Mylan Graham is. And you and I have been sitting here talking on this show about how we think Mylan Graham is going to be a dog. And he's a former 5-star recruit for a reason. I think it just took him a little bit of time because he was a late enrollee last year. Like, he didn't get in until the summer. So it took him a little bit of time to get comfortable, not just with the offense and, his role, but also just being a college student, like being away from home for the first time and adapting to just kind of the first step into adulthood. So now that he's settled in and he's ready to go, we saw what he can do. He had one, I think, bad play on that throw where Sayin threw it to him, and quite frankly, it should have been a touchdown, but he just didn't locate the ball in the end zone. But that was the only thing I saw him do wrong. He dropped Aaron Scott a couple times on some routes, and, we'll get to Aaron Scott later. But, I think Graham is poised to get some real playing time this year based off that performance. What did you think about Graham and what he did?
It was, listen, I already knew how good he was. I've been somewhat harassed by guys that when I say I think by the end of this season, we might be looking at him as the second best wide receiver on this team. I think he has that in him, and it wasn't so much. Everyone says, "Oh yeah, I'm talking down on Carnell Tate." No, I'm not. I'm not talking down on Brandon Ennis. I think those two are dogs. I just believe Mylan Graham is very, very good, like special good.
Yeah,
he reminds me of Garrett Wilson. It's crazy, and it's crazy seeing him in that 5 jersey, and he makes plays like Garrett Wilson. He moves like Garrett Wilson. Like, that's what it looks like out there.
Yeah,
and I thought he was really impressive. Another guy, I thought C.J. Donaldson looked explosive.
I thought the running backs in general looked good.
Yeah, I really like what we got back there. The offense. What do you think about the offensive line and the defensive line?
So that's where I was going to go here in a little bit. But first off, I do want to give props out to Bo Jackson, true freshman. He looked really good in his first action. And again, someone we both have liked for a while. As far as the offensive and defensive line goes, so the problem is I can't tell if it's just the offensive line being really good or if the starting defensive line is really that bad and we've got some concerns. I tend to think it's more of the latter. Like, I think the defensive line has got some problems. There was not really no starting defensive lineman got any push at all up front, and that is deeply concerning to me moving forward. There were some backups who looked good. Logan George, I know you've really liked him. He looked good. He was one of the few defensive linemen that was able to do something. And I think it's going to be a big problem this year up front. They can only, they're probably going to have to go to the transfer portal to kind of help with the depth, but they're not going to be able to get a starting caliber defensive lineman at this stage in the game. So that left me deeply concerned. I thought the offensive line configuration was interesting, though. With Saravel as the starting right tackle. Out there. We'd kind of speculated he could be one of the tackles. But, what did you think of that combination?
It's funny because I looked at the CBS article today from Blake Broshire about the 150 top players in the nation. The only offensive lineman at Ohio State that was on there was Phillip Daniels.
I saw that.
And
he didn't start. So
no. And so I remember one time, I think probably 2 weeks ago, we talked about Saravel and about him being an Iron Buckeye. And I said, when we asked, maybe maybe he's actually just taking that jump, But I mean,
I hope he does. I hope he did. I think that I do think Jalen's still got or if Philip still has a chance to win that job. I will see what Daniels is able to do in the fall, but it is telling right now that Cerevel has that spot. And you know what? He played fine. Like I said, the entire offensive line did fine. He was the whole offensive line as a whole was able to open up holes for the running back. They did a pretty good job of protecting both quarterbacks. And it's honestly, I mean, what did you think of the offensive defensive line? Like, are you concerned about the defensive line at all after that performance?
I'm concerned about the defensive, the tackles. Yeah, the defensive tackles. I we didn't see much Houston out there. We didn't see much McDonald out there. I think, and that's because we the coaches know what they have for those two. I think
Yeah, they started. Look, they played like a couple series, and that was about it.
Yeah, I think I saw that with James Peoples. I think they know what they got in some players. Jason Moore, I didn't like his body language out there.
What'd you say?
I didn't like his body language out there.
Yeah.
Jason Moore. I don't know how to explain it, but I just didn't like his body language out there. I didn't think he brought any intensity. And you want to. When it comes to Malone, I mean, I can't really say anything bad about him, but I can't really say anything good about him. Anything that stood out from him.
Yeah. Which he's someone we've been talking about. Hey, it's your time to show something. You're gonna do something.
And I don't think we would have this worry with Hero. Hero, we knew we could have someone that could play. We knew Hero could play. So this is one of those moments where it's kind of it sucks.
Yep.
But no, but yeah, so
Also,
it's a concern. But the offensive line, but on the offensive line, I was happy with what I saw, and it's because I thought guys knew where to go. It was clear that guys knew where to pick up the blocks. So it looks like Tyler Bowen's been doing a great job with them. The running backs helped out sometimes. I mean, I think it was like a 10-to-1 pass to run ratio out there. So I thought the running backs blocked pretty well, which was a concern for me. So
I thought the offensive line definitely did their job, and that is reassuring to me. I know like a lot of those guys played last year up front. Like, I mean, Hinsman played down the stretch. Luke Montgomery at least got some CFP run in there. Tegra played most of the year. Cerevel played half the year. So we knew a lot of those guys. And you and I both thought Ethan were going to be, we thought he was going to be good enough to start at left tackle right away. And that seems to be what they're doing with him. So, and honestly, I thought the backups looked good too. Like, I thought the offensive line in general performed pretty well. Now, some of the backups, they didn't protect quite as well. And that's when the Logan George push came, and some of the other guys, were able to do something at that point. But overall, I was pleased with the offense. At least, the offensive line, the running backs, like I said, looked good. I was not, like I said, I wasn't able to tune in on Saturday. So what was your thought on the quarterback play? Because that's the big topic that every Ohio State fan wants to know what's going on with the quarterback. So what was your take on that?
I didn't think anyone played bad. I thought both quarterbacks played good to above average to good, and I would say that the good came out of Julian. From the get go, I thought Julian did really well. From the time he got on the field, the twos led them down the field. Got out the ones, did it again. The ball gets out quick. He reads the offenses. I mean, since high school, he was a recruit. Everyone knew that he read defenses really fast, really well. So we're able to see that he does that. He looked good out there, man. I thought that he has some impressive throws, and it was as a fan of the team, it was really cool to see the talent on display to an extent. Again, you don't want to take too much from it, but there's that. For Lincoln, I thought Lincoln played well. I thought what I took from him was that he would be the type of quarterback that he would be a rhythm quarterback throughout the game, where kind of like a Kyle McCord, where you might get a really slow start, then maybe and then the second half the game picks up a little bit for him. I mean, like in the first few throws he had, somehow, I think Ryan Day said last year to Will, the helmet and higher. I don't know how you sail a throw over Jeremiah Smith, but he found a way to do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, he still played pretty well. So and then
Yeah.
go ahead.
Early on, Lincoln, I thought Lincoln in general is going to just early on. I thought he tried to come out with a little bit too much juice. Like he didn't play well for the first, honestly, for the first half of the first half. Like Julian
Mhm.
went down and he led scoring drives pretty much, right off the gate. 4 drives in a row, like he led scoring drives, and they weren't all touchdown drives, but they got, fielding went out there and he kicked some field goals. I thought Sand looked more poised. I thought he had more. I thought he made some really good touch throws. He had some good deep throws. He did have a pass batted down early on, which I think that is a concern with him just because of his stature. Like he's only 6'1", like he's much shorter. So I think that's going to be something that they're going to have to deal with all year. But honestly, Saturday, it just kind of reaffirmed my thoughts on the quarterback situation. Like Sand, I think is the clear starter, and I think Lincoln is the clear backup. And I think, Lincoln, like honestly, Lincoln played to me like a good backup. Like he is someone I could trust to put out there if Sand were to go down. And I think that would be fine. And yeah, the defense was very vanilla, which we knew they were going to be. The offense was pretty vanilla too. Like both sides of the ball, they were doing pretty basic stuff. And I do want to hear your thoughts on Tavian's performance because he was one of my losers, unfortunately. And again, it's early, like it's a spring game as a true freshman, but he did not look good for the most of the time he was out there. I mean, 1 of 7 in the first half. He threw 2 picks. One of the picks was almost a pick 6. I was hoping for a little bit better of a performance from him, but again, he was never expected to start or compete for the starting job this year, and he's got a lot of time to learn and grow in the offense, so I'm not too worried about it.
He looked like a freshman.
Yeah,
he looked like a freshman. Like from the first time when we first got on the field, I said, okay. I think the first thing I typed was he has a lot of zip. Like that's a live arm. He has that.
Yes.
But sometimes you gotta have someone teach you how to hone in on that a little bit. I saw this comparison. I forget who it was on X, but they said like he's kind of like he looks like a Terrell Pryor out there. That's what he reminds me of. He reminds me of Terrell Pryor. He's someone, and Terrell Pryor didn't have the quarterback or like didn't have the Ryan Day in his on the coaching staff. He didn't have that type of guy that could just refine a quarterback skills. So he's raw, but outside of those 2 picks and some wild throws, I thought he made some good plays. He ended the game really well.
I thought that last drive was really good for him. Like get some confidence, leading that touchdown drive at the end. I thought that was good to see.
Let him see success.
Yeah, exactly. And my guess is we're not going to see him a whole lot this year, maybe in some blowouts, but I think Lincoln's going to get a lot of backup snaps, obviously, in some of those early games.
What do you think about Lincoln? What do you think about Lincoln?
So, like I mentioned, I thought he played like he had a little bit too much. I mean, coming out as the first quarterback out,
was he better than you expected? Or was it? Or
I was expecting a little bit more, to be honest. Like based off of the report, just based off of the performances that we've heard from some of the scrimmages, where Sand was the one who didn't look good. And I had a couple buddies who were actually at practice on Friday, and they said the offense in general looked bad, which was concerning. So, I like I said, I was expecting just a little bit more from Lincoln just because of some of the reports we'd had about how, it looked like he'd finally hit a little bit more consistency.
Mhm.
But as I said before, he's playing like a backup who I can trust out there. So he's going to be the backup, and that is perfectly fine. Like I saw enough from saying that I am comfortable with the quarterback situation, comfortable enough where we can stay far the hell away from Nico as possible. I know we
Yeah.
talked about that already, but yeah,
Yeah.
don't it just yeah.
No, and right here from Philip, man, good to see you. He says, I am most impressed by the running backs. And then right there, he also says
Yep.
the tight ends played well too. That right, so the tight ends for me, that's a position where I was really surprised. Max Clare, first off,
Max Clare
came out
touchdown,
there.
baby.
That was nice. That was really good to see. Um,
Jelani Thurman
and
sighting, which
yeah,
we only ever get to see him really in the spring game.
yeah,
So
no, yeah. I thought Jelani played well. I mean, his hands weren't. He's not doing this.
yeah.
He's actually catching the ball. He looked fluid out there. Uh, Max LeBlanc, was good to see him out there. See a little bit out of him.
Will got hurt again, which that
Yeah,
is what it is.
but
He's
I
he had
thought this
whatever.
like knowing that we have Kamara Excel, I think that's a pretty deep tight end room. I think it's been one of the better ones in the nation. And the running backs, I I mean I
Were
had a
you
high thought, but I
surprised? Were you surprised that Peoples came out with the ones and Donaldson was with the twos?
no,
I was a little bit surprised.
I think people might be that boy. I
Yeah,
think he didn't. I think what he had 2 carries, or I think 4
yeah,
maybe. Like he
yeah. He didn't
didn't.
play a whole lot.
No. James might. I mean, you see what he looks like out there. He looks like Maurice Claret. He looks like J.K. Dobbins. He looks like a Mike West. Like
I'm
that's what
gonna
he
hold
looks like.
on to that until
I'm no.
he
I'm saying.
goes out
I'm
there.
saying his body looks like that.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know, like
yeah.
he just looks like that. So I don't know, but I just hot take that I said after the game. I said I don't think any of the running backs go over 15 carries this season. Not in the
You
regular
mean like
season.
15 carries a game?
No, I don't think any of them. Like last year in the regular season, um, not Dobbins, but Judkins was the only running back to go over 15 carries, and his was 17. He only did that once throughout the season.
Hmm. I think they.
I think Sam's gonna get in the game. I think Bo's gonna be in the game. I think all
So you
these
think
running
they're
backs
gonna
are gonna be
platoon
pretty
them
good.
a lot
Yeah,
like that?
I think the running backs are gonna play.
I think that is going. That's an interesting thought. I still, I think, I don't know because Bo did look really good. Like I was gonna say, I think it's like two guys who are gonna get carries, but Bo Jackson looked really good. Um, so
Mm.
I still think that they're gonna have the majority of the carries go to whoever they deem as a starter, which it seems like right now it's gonna be Peoples. But I based on how it worked out last year, I know Trevion and Quinshon Judkins. I mean, those guys were two special backs, and we knew that coming into the season.
Mhm.
But if they think they've got two guys who deserve to kind of split carries and do it pretty equally, like I'm fine with that. Like keep them fresh for the deep run that they want to make. I'm not sure about
Um,
this take. I saw Philip put this. I don't know
yeah,
about three running backs above 500 yards. I don't know if
no,
I see
two.
that.
No, I really no. I'm serious. I think they're gonna. I don't think any of these running backs will touch 15 carries in a game. I truly believe they are gonna run them. Why not?
Yeah, I don't know if I see both running backs or two running backs getting over a
Mhm.
thousand yards like we did this past season,
No,
but I do. I don't really know. I guess yet because
I thought
this was the first time we saw Brian Hartline really get to call plays an extended period of time, but it was obviously very vanilla, so we don't know exactly how much run he's going to go versus pass. So
because it could be like
it's
a hot hand. It could be like a hot hand
yeah,
type of thing for the running backs. Like whoever has the hot hand that day.
yeah. But I'll say this: I feel a lot better about the running back room after seeing their performance
Hmm.
on Saturday. Like they
I agree.
were great. Um, I do want to ask you about uh, the safeties. So Malik Hartford got the start next to Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't really notice him a whole lot out there. He didn't make any mistakes either. Like I thought he was like fine. But then Jalen came out with the second unit, and he made a couple of plays. But again, I don't think it was significantly better than Malik. I mean, he did at least make a couple of plays. You think that they're going to stick with Hartford as a starter, or you think that's still a battle? I think it's still
I
a
think
battle.
I think it's still a battle, and it's because maybe they wanted to see if what Malik looked like next to Caleb. But I do believe what the position Caleb is in, that's what Malik plays.
Hmm.
I think McLean's a better coverage guy. I think he's the to fit what the defense needs. I think he should be playing. But no, I thought Malik played well though. I didn't think he did anything crazy or outstanding. I thought he was fine out there.
Yep.
McLean, I thought they both gave up. I think didn't they both give up a touchdown?
Uh, I think I
Or then
think
McLean made a play
McLean McLean made played there on the goal.
on Jelani. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so he had stopped one touchdown. So even though I do believe that touchdown by Max Clare, I do believe Malik pulled up because I
Well,
think that was a real. I
sure,
think
and
that was a
also that
real
was an
good.
Arvell Reese mistake. He did not drop back on that zone.
No, he did it, but I mean, like where that ball was, I think that was a real good situation. Malik was putting his helmet or his shoulder pad and then a helmet. So,
Yeah.
but either
One,
way, though, I'm okay with the safeties. I didn't think they played really badly. And I think when you have a guy like Lorenzo Styles, you can actually put him back there. I think that's a safe way to go, if need be.
Yeah. One other thing I want to talk about defensively, and he was one of my other losers on the game, was Aaron Scott. Aaron Scott had a rough Saturday. He got dropped a couple of times on Mylan Graham routes. Like he straight up just fell down.
Yeah.
Like it looked like he got crossed over on the basketball court, and that was disappointing because I've talked about on this show how much of an Aaron Scott fan I was with him coming out of high school. I was really hoping to see him play well. And it wasn't just that he didn't play well. Yeah, like he got testy. Like that play at the end of the first half when he just basically threw a haymaker at Quincy Porter. You do that in a real game, you're getting tossed. Like you're getting thrown out. So he didn't really keep a level head. He didn't really keep his feet going very well. I thought it was a rough day for Aaron Scott. And I'm hoping to see better days from him.
No, we have. He's a DB, and DBs have bad days. That happens.
Yeah,
it's a hard position to play. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's not your day, and and definitely wasn't his. We have seen good reps out of him through videos sent by the football team, so that's not a worry for me. But
what did you think of the limited Devin Sanchez we saw? Because that got me a little bit excited. He made a couple of plays.
Yeah, I did like that. Unless I'm wrong here, if Jeremiah was out there, I think that's where they had him. It looked like, or at least in the area.
Jeremiah only really played like the first couple of snaps,
Yeah,
or first couple of
thought,
series.
Yeah, I thought Devin Sanchez. I saw him line up with him a few times, so I did like that. If you don't say a DB's name, that's usually a good reason. That's a good thing if you don't say their names. So no, I thought Devin played well. I mean, for the rest of the DBs, I mean, I can't really say much about that. I thought Julian just had a day on them, which I was really surprised by.
Yeah, me too.
Usually the defense has the advantage in these spring games. So and the way the way I kind of cope with it is, well, I'm comfortable with saying 100% of college football doesn't have what Ohio State has right now.
Yeah.
So it's just.
Yeah, and I mean, and I'm certainly not worried about the secondary in general. I think the secondary is going to be really good.
Jermaine played really well. I'll tell you that much.
I was going to bring him up. Jermaine was good, which we knew. Like we knew he was going to be good. So I am not worried about Jermaine. The only thing I'm worried about with Iggy is his penalties. We know what Caleb Downs does. Like
I thought Bryce West played well.
Yeah, he has some good reps.
I think he could play. I think he could play this season. We saw him a couple times last year. He made a good play against Tennessee, but seeing the spring game, Really, elite athlete, second fastest on the team in my estimation, behind Devin.
Yeah.
So it was good to see him out there also.
So, that's pretty much my takes as far as the offensive and defense side of the ball is concerned. I want to talk about special teams a little bit because
Mhm.
Jaden Fielding made some field goals, including a decently long one, which I thought was good to see. Like, I know he said at the end of last year he was playing with a torn hip. He was basically going through an injury, and I thought he looked a lot more fluid today, and it was good to see him, make some kicks, and that gives me a little bit more confidence with him moving forward. What did you think about him?
I think that kind of like for Ryan Day and for all the seniors last year, I thought that the playoff was it was a separate season for Jaden Fielding. He hit some big. He got some big field goals in the playoffs. One in the
Yep.
national championship to clinch it. The Texas game, he was big in that. Even in the Oregon game, yeah, we were winning, but every time when it was like 40-yarder, 30-yarder, he nailed it. Tennessee, he nailed it. Like he was on point. I thought that gave him a little like a jolt going, like put a battery in his back going into this season. And so clearly he
Yep.
has more confidence. And I think, when you have a fresh new team like this, it's important that your special teams are intact, especially
Well, and
especially if it's a field goal, you're trying to get points out of it. So
yep. Field goal kicking, I feel good at. Punting still a disaster to me. Like they weren't very good at punting last year, and they brought back the same guys, and they're still bad. So I was hoping they were going to
what?
go into the transfer portal for that, but McGuire and McLarty, like they did nothing for me. They had like punts that barely got 40 yards down the field. That's
Yeah,
concerning. That is deeply concerning. And
and
my hope is
McLaurin,
that they're not my hope is they're not punting very much.
yeah, look, all right. So for punting, I don't think it's too bad. Maybe they just had an off day. Maybe it was just an off day.
Okay.
I'm
Weird.
willing to give them that mulligan, but no, it didn't look good. Again, special teams has been something that over the last few years that Ryan Day has still yet to fix. It has been a transition. The offense has always been here. He fixed the defense, and now I think he knows what to look for in defense. And now special teams is the next thing to finish. It's just the next thing he doesn't know how to handle, I guess, as a head coach on down.
That's the hope because those guys, like I said, punting wasn't very good last year, and they didn't
Mhm.
really address that. And I didn't like what I saw on Saturday.